Welcome to the School District of Springfield Township Board of School Directors regular board meeting, May 15th, 2017. Prior to this evening's meeting, we had an executive session at 6:15. We had a discussion of 2 personnel matters and a student issue. So now we will all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reading of the mission statement. The mission of the School District of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high-achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community. Roll call, Mr. King.
Mr. Chapman. Here. Ms. Pasales. Mr. Lapidus. Here. Ms. Nelson. Mr. Rayer. Here. Ms. Sarsfield. Here. Dr. Taratusky. Mr. Taylor. Ms. Lipinski.
Here. Number 6, announcements. The board, at its discretion, may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitations set forth in Policy 006.2, Broadcasting of Meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoon following the board meeting. Are there any public comments on agenda items?
2 people signed up for agenda items, but the topics are really non-agenda related.
Okay.
So I would recommend that they go at the end,
Okay.
non-agenda items.
So we have 2 times on our agenda for public comments. The first public comment section is for comments on the specific items on our agenda for our motions. After we go through the motions, there will be a second public comment time for non-agenda items, which is when we will have you come to speak with us, the 2 people that have signed up. Okay. Moving on to the approval of minutes. April 4th, 2017, interim meeting, board minutes P. April 18th, 2017, regular meeting, board minutes Q. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman. Mr. Lapidus. Mr. Rayer. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Taratusky. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Approval of Treasurer's Report, Treasurer's Report H. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman. Mr. Lapidus. Mr. Rayer. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Taratusky. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Moving on to reports and information. Number 1, recognitions and awards.
Thank you, Mrs. Lipinski. So this is the part of the evening that I'm assuming most of you are here for. I didn't think it was for the motions on the agenda, although some of you may be interested in that as well. So we're going to get busy. I'm just going to come around so we can introduce some of the individuals who are going to get us started with our recognition for this evening. Extremely proud. First of all, Dr. Rittenhouse, our high school principal, is here. And for several years in a row, our high school has been noted as one of the most challenging high schools in the United States, as noted by U.S. News and World Report magazine. So I just want to congratulate Dr. Rittenhouse. As well as all of our staff members and our students for creating a wonderfully engaging and rigorous academic environment that allowed us to once again earn that distinction. So congratulations. Secondly, every year around this time, we are very honored that the Zeswitz Music Company, which supplies music for all of the instruments that our students play, comes to us, and for, again, many years in a row, we seem to be the honorees of a certain award. So I'm going to introduce Randy Shaler from Zeswitz Music Company, and also Marcy Klugman, who is our music coordinator for the school district, who unfortunately will be leaving us at the end of the school year as she enters the lovely world of retirement. So Marcy, this is your last opportunity. So that's why it's particularly important that she be here to help me accept this award. So Randy, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Hacker, and thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm here not only on behalf of my company, Zeswitz Music, but also on behalf of the National Association of Music Merchants and the NAMM Foundation. The NAMM Foundation is the largest nonprofit foundation in music education, and each year they partner with the University of Kansas to do a survey of music programs throughout the country. This year, they selected 597 winners, and of those winners, I'm pleased to announce that Springfield Township has been recognized yet again. Springfield Township has been recognized, folks, for the 4th time in a row as a best community for music education. Now, notice not only is that an award for the music department here, but the word community is really the key word there. And if you want to know why the school district of Springfield Township is so successful, folks, look to your left and right. It takes an entire community of support. So I'd also, in addition to the faculty, if you're from the music faculty, please raise your hand. Congratulations.
We're going to bring them up.
Super. I'd also, thank you. I'd like to recognize Dr. Hacker's strong support and the support of the school board, Ms. Slipinski and the entire school board for all of their undying support for the music program. So without further ado, I'd like to award the National Association of Music Merchants Best Communities for Music Education Award to the School District of Springfield Township. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Randy. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to give Marcy the honor of holding that award for just a moment. Marcy, would you mind introducing all of our wonderful music educators who work in our school district?
Sure. Matt Barlow works at Enfield Elementary and Springfield Township Middle School. Come on up. Joanna Fletcher, general music and vocal music at Erdenheim Elementary School. Amy Benton teaches vocal and general music at Springfield Township Middle School. Chuck Gottesman teaches instrumental music grades 7 through 12, both middle and high school. And Andrew Puntel teaches a few lessons at Erdenheim and a lot of choral music in our high school. Andrew.
I'm going to let you guys get on with the awards.
Okay, so we would, as much as we are happy to be together, we are here tonight to celebrate the accomplishments of our students. And so I'm going to put this down, and I'll start with the elementary awards first and move our way up through middle and high school so you can have some expectations of how this will work. Would each of the students, as they are called, please come up, shake our hands, and we'll give you your award and congratulate you for your excellence in music performance. We're going to do elementary first.
Yep.
It says through there somewhere is elementary band fest.
You're holding it.
Yeah, you got it.
No. I don't. I have mine. There's one that says STS band fest. Oh. I would like to recognize Alana Decker. give you your award.
Thank you.
If we could hold the applause, I'll try and go a little faster because we're so happy to have so many people here, and I want to keep the sunlight for our big annual picture. Kaylee Evans. Lucas Henke. Nora Lacey. Kaylee Noonan. Tess Talbot. And Shannon Talley. This is for PMEA District 11 Band Fest, 5th grade. We'll go to PMEA Band Fest District 11, 6th grade, and we'll go back to the elementary in a moment.
Caden Brunner. Lucas Davidson. Emily Eisenman, who I believe was not able to be here tonight because of a concussion. Correct me if I'm wrong. Franny Holcomb. Anthony Lee.
He's wearing his music shirt. Good job.
And Taylor Schultz. I'm not sure if I saw Taylor. Thank you, Dr. Hacker.
There are a couple more.
I've got another Brady Welsh. Is Brady here this evening? No. And Celia Wright. All right.
Our next group of awards will be for PMEA District 11 Song Fest at the elementary level.
Luke Brightcliffe. Naomi Klager. Anna Clark. Shakaya Gray Gibbs. Jordan Kempner. Cami Merrigan. Matthew Rizzo.
I know.
Deweese Smith Jr. Abigail Stein. Wilcox Tullo.
Thank you, Mrs. Fletcher. And middle school? And Mrs. Benton will present grades 7 through 9 Junior High Song Fest.
Jane Kutcher, I believe she could not be here this evening due to a rehearsal.
It's a good reason.
Yeah, it's a good reason. Ani Peterson. I think she's also in the same. Oh, there she is.
Oh, good. How pretty.
Michaela Mitchell. There she is. Lilia Mitchell. Ethan McBride. Trey Dubose. He's got his piano tie on.
I know, I like the tie.
Nice touch. Congratulations.
Lucas McCabe. And Katie Eckert.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Benton. And I'd also like to just acknowledge the role that Springfield Township High School played in hosting this festival. We hosted it this year, and Amy did quite a lot of great work getting Rollo Dilworth to be our clinician. And I'd also like to recognize Dr. Rittenhouse and the entire school community helping us to support such a wonderful event. So round of applause for the high school for hosting this year. Ninth graders, Maggie Amuso. Ian Brown. Lucas Eberly. Rachel Marion. Michaela Purnell. And Joshua Powell. All right, round of applause for our ninth graders.
And on behalf of the middle school, his middle school hat for right now, Middle School Montco Band, Mr. Gottesman.
So the middle school Monco Band members were all selected from 6 area school districts to represent outstanding musicians in Montgomery County. This year's festival was hosted at Abington Junior High School, and our first recognition is to Sky Buckner. Mr. Trey Dubose, with the handsome tie on tonight, fashion sense. Mr. Miles O'Rourke. Is Miles here tonight? Thank you, Miles. Kaylee McKinney. I saw Kaylee here. Elbows. Throw the elbows. You can get through quick. Mr. Alec Huang. Thank you, Alec.
And Charlotte Hartner, right from a softball game, right here. Bennett Grothison. Is Ben here tonight? Not sure I saw him. Thank you, Bennett. Jesse Goodman. Thanks, Jesse. And Katie Eckert. Joseph Scott. Well done, Joe, coming up the middle there. That was excellent. Bobby Holcomb. Thanks, Bob. Julie Jin. Is Julie here tonight? Thank you, Julie. Julie's here. I hear she's here. Thank you, Julie. Bella John. Kate Kaufman. Ethan McBride. Michaela Mitchell. Julia Pratt. And Eric Stout. There he is, coming up the middle. And Benjamin Talley. Is Ben here tonight? Ben Talley. Thanks very much. That's all of our 7th and 8th grade Montco band members. Now, as Mr. Puntel mentioned, we also had the honor of hosting another festival at Springfield. This year we hosted the High School Montco Band Festival. And the High School Montco Band, again, is comprised of outstanding students from 7 area school districts, and the directors send their best and most dedicated students. So all of these students you're seeing are really just a small percentage of the great music program that we do have here. So we're very proud of all of our students, and we're here tonight to recognize the cream of the crop. So we're going to bring up first Devin Reed for High School Montco Band. One-winged Devin. We have a concert Thursday night, Devin. Maggie O'Rourke. Is Maggie here tonight? We didn't have Miles. Oh, Maggie's here. Here she comes. I see the hair. Thank you, Maggie. Adam Weissman could not be here tonight. Thank you, Adam. Hannah Janeman is here. Jeff Kutcher. Kyler Brunner also could not join us tonight. Thank you, Kyler. And Charlie Beal. Thank you, Charlie. Caesar Stringfield. I saw Caesar tonight. Thank you, Caesar. And Lucy Namira, the first of many Namiras tonight. Thank you, Lucy. Benjamin Dorham. Thanks, Ben. Emma Lindsay.
What's that? I love the font. We can read
Dominic Namira. Namira number 2. I'm not sure. Thank you. And Connor Namira. And you know, B is great too. We'll just recognize B. Thank you. Brian Santangelo. Is Brian here tonight? Didn't see him. Brian, thank you. Here he comes. Brian's here. With this crowd, it's hard to tell you. Carly Euling. Thank you. And Raekwon Washington. It's tough being cool. And those are our high school Monco Band recognitions. So thank you to our high school Monco Band members. One of our instrumental students also had the distinction of auditioning for the Pennsylvania Music Educators Association District and Region and All-State Bands. And this is the second year in a row that our friend Will Durham qualified for districts and regionals. So let's welcome Will up one more time and honor him.
Congratulations, Will. Great job.
And I'll turn it over to Mr. Puntel.
Thank you, Mr. Gottesman. We do look forward to seeing everyone at our high school concert if you're available this Thursday. There's also our 4th grade beginner concert, so the exact bookends of our program can be experienced this week, Wednesday and Thursday. I have 3 very special awards to give out to round out our recognitions this evening. The first is for participation in our PMEA District 11 Song Festival, which calls from, similar to the band that Mr. Gossman just described, calls from the Chester, actually Montgomery, Bucks, a little bit of, Montgomery and Bucks counties. And this award goes to Alyssa Kerr.
Turn around.
Stay
One at a
put.
time.
So this, I had the distinction of doing a little interview for our school newspaper, The Chronicle, about Alyssa's journey through this program and through these honor festivals. And it really did lead me to realize how much I've gained as an educator. So I appreciate the entire school board and our administrators for supporting these festivals. They're really an important way for our students and for our educators to grow. So the support is really felt. Alyssa is also going to be awarded for Region 6 Chorus, PMEA Region 6 Chorus. This is her third year doing Region 6 Chorus. So congratulations, Alyssa. All right. This year, Alyssa was also qualified for our PMEA Pennsylvania Music Educators, the state choir, state chorus, where she sang Alto 1. So she made it through all those various levels and was awarded there. So congratulations for the Pennsylvania Music Educators All-State Chorus 2017. I'm almost done, but interestingly, as a reflection of her continued journey through this, on the date of this board meeting last year, I received notification that Alyssa had advanced to, based on her 2015-2016 performances, up to the all-state level. At those levels, she auditioned for and was accepted into the 2017, this was National Association for Music Educators. Every other year they offer an Eastern Regional Chorus. So she participated in a treble chorus for the entire Eastern region of our National Music Educators Association. Congratulations on the Treble Choir 2017 NAFME Award. And finally, as just a crowning distinction, throughout Alyssa's 4 years again, she's the only student I've ever known that's advanced to national. So we were able to thank Alyssa for her service to the school in all of the performing arts. She's a triple threat and beyond. So congratulations, Alyssa, for your participation in the NAFME All National Mixed Choir. And if anyone has any questions about the merits of trying to participate in going on with these programs, could Alyssa's parents please stand? I know they'd be willing to share. So let's acknowledge Alyssa's parents for their dedication to the musical arts. It's been a growing experience for both of us, so thank you and congratulations.
Mrs. Pugman?
Go ahead.
So I do want to take the moment to thank all of the parents and family members who have helped these students to get to all their different rehearsals and concerts. As Mr. Puntel mentioned, month is our Festival of the Arts celebration here in Springfield. Enfield had their concerts 2 weeks ago. The middle school is last week. The part of Erdenheim and the high school are this week. And next week there's another Erdenheim performance. So we are a very busy school district musically through the merry month of May. But I would so much like to take a moment and thank all of the parents who make this musical journey possible.
Let's go all the musicians. You want me to read to the let's let Dan do this. Okay.
We just have a couple more student recognition awards, if you'll be patient. So I'm going to call up Dan Meter, along with Marlene Thornton and Dr. Rittenhouse. And Dan, I'm going to allow you to talk about the Greenfield Film Festival.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 20 local high schools submitted over 250 films into this year's Greenfield Youth Film Festival, and we're proud to say that 4 of our Springfield students received some kind of recognition at that festival. So we're going to bring Emily Walsh up first for getting second place in the documentary category for her film, Nathan and Bennett. We're also going to bring up, I don't know if he's here. I haven't seen him. Noah Cohen. Is Noah Cohen here? No? He and his dad both told me they were coming, so they lied. Okay. But his film was nominated for Best Documentary Narrative, Director, Funniest Film, Cinematography, Acting, and Screenplay. We've never had a film nominated for more things
that's the most
than that. That film was called No Code 10. We're going to bring up Grace Talbot for her film was nominated for Best Comedy and Use of a Teacher. Grace's film is called Unmotivational Motivational Speaker. She used her father instead of a teacher, but the category is use of a teacher. So they didn't know that at Greenfield. And then finally, I don't think Andrew Pasmontier is here, but his film was also nominated for Best Documentary. It's called The Hive. All of those films can be seen on the Spartan TV link on the high school website, along with our 10-day film challenge films, episodes of Steal the Show, and more. I'm going to hand the mic to Mrs. Thornton here. She's got something to add to this.
Okay, another really wonderful thing that happened when Emily's film, Nathan and Bennett, won second place, Best Documentary. They also announced that all of the proceeds from the evening at Upper Dublin High School, from the ticket sales for the parents to come and see all the films and the awards, all the proceeds are being donated, to progeria research. So we were thrilled to hear that, and we would also really like to thank the Falcone family for letting us into their home and letting Emily make this wonderful, wonderful documentary. And I hope you all have a chance to look at it on Spartan TV because it's wonderful. Thanks, guys. You want to come? You want to come up? It was great to watch you. So these guys are really the stars of the film. So if you have a chance, go see. Oh, here comes another. All right. All right, come on up. Oh, yeah. Thank you for being the star of the documentary. The star is you and your brother. Thank you very much. Are you good? Have you seen the film? Yeah, good. You were great. All right, thank you. At the next meeting? Let's just check if she's not here. Okay. Grace Auld is not here, right? Just making sure. Okay. Do that next time.
And then finally, I'd like to turn over to Mr. Payne, who will speak about the Dan Hauer Award winner.
I'm going to stand over here so I don't have my back turned to many people. I'm here to introduce a pretty special Spartan. She's the third in school history to be recognized for this award. This award is 54 years old, and it's run by the Triangle Club. And this outside organization holds a dinner every year, and every high school in Montgomery County, all 33, they nominate a student athlete who exemplifies academics, athletics, and community service. So each year, Dr. Rittenhouse and I speak about our senior class, and we find a nominee, and then this Triangle Club reads the bios from all 33 nominees. They host a dinner where every one of these students is placed on a pedestal. They read their bio, there's a dinner, and then the top 4, judged by the Triangle Club, are awarded scholarships. Prior to this year, Springfield has had 2, and I'm proud to announce that this year we now have 3. And I would like to recognize Carly Munger, who is our nominee this year. She is second in our class. She's an 8 varsity letter winner for water polo and swimming. She is an example of community service from our community, and this year she was the 3rd place runner-up and a scholarship award winner from the Triangle Club. She is our Dan Hauer Award winner, who made me very proud last Thursday night, and I'd like to recognize her with an award. I'd also like to recognize both Mike and Kim Munger, the parents of Carly, who joined me last Thursday, who got to share the smiles, and we had some hugs afterwards. It was a really great moment, so I'd like to recognize the Munger family as well. Come join us.
All right, thank you, everybody. Just a couple, this week, exciting week here at the high school, talking about student achievement and kids doing great things. We have the student awards tonight. This Wednesday, boys lacrosse, 4 o'clock, playoff game. Wednesday night, Festival of the Arts. If you walk through the main lobby, you'll see it was just being put up, and that is featuring artwork here at the high school with awards. It starts at 7:30. Thursday night, 7:30, spring concert here at the high school. Friday, we have a blood drive for the students, 8 a.m., and then 5 p.m., Relay for Life at Upper Dublin High School. And we have a very active group of students here, Mrs. Proto, Ali Proto, and Relay for Life is an event to to raise money for the American Cancer Society. You can come to Upper Dublin High School anytime after 5 o'clock. It's a 24-hour event. Have some food, donate some money, and the Walk for Life, you walk around the track. Our kids spend the night. They do a great job. I'll put some more information out about that. But it's been it'll be a great week here at the high school. And thank you, Dr. Hacker. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, and thanks to all of our students and parents also for your patience. We have one more presentation, and if you are so inclined as to want to go home and do your homework, instead of staying to watch some of our students from Erdenheim show you a wonderful demonstration about coding that they are learning under our technology teacher, Matt Meyer. You are certainly welcome to stay, but if you feel you have more pressing academic issues to attend to, you are excused as well. So we want to thank all of you and congratulations to all of our students in the arts. Let's hear it for the arts. There is picture taking outside for all of the music students.
Musicians, come on outside and take one big picture, please. Thank you.
And Matt, wherever you are, we'll give you a moment to get yourself organized.
Bye. That's all I'm basically just going to say, show that video. I had a PowerPoint with just some stats. I think it's more just to show what they can do.
I'm sorry that you had to
And any of them don't come back.
We're just going to. Hello? We're just going to kind of give them a minute to move out, and then we'll get started really quickly. Thanks for hanging in. And I don't know if anybody can hear me, but I don't plan on doing much talking anyway. So if we can pop that to the back. Can you rewind that just a minute? I'm going to give it 1 second. Yeah. Hi. Thanks for all the people who are out and staying and hanging out. My name is Matt Meyer. I'm the computer science teacher over at Erdenheim. I see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of faces I don't know. But thank you very, very much for coming. Hi to everybody on the board. Met all of you before. I really, just because we're kind of getting a little bit of a late start, I really don't want to say much. I want to share with you a video really quickly that just the program that we use, Code.org, which was a nonprofit put together to teach computer science and programming to students from really pre-K through grade 12, put together a great video that introduces why we should be teaching coding and computer science from K to 12. And I kind of just want to show you that and then give you an opportunity to see some of our coders. You can look and see some of your kids over there. And I just want to say, we have 3 of our students from 2nd grade over there getting ready. That's Mary Kate in the stripes waving to us, Jonathan over there, and Caroline Tullo. And we have 3 4th graders. Our 4th graders are working in our middle level courses. They're going to be showing you some pretty cool stuff, especially one of them is way beyond me as far as what skills with coding and programming, already designing his own websites using the HTML language. And then some of our 5th graders are just they're hiding out back in the corner. We make them hide over there. They're going to be really just kind of showing you guys what they do on a daily basis. I told them not to really plan too much other than to do some coding and be ready to answer some questions. And really, it won't be a problem. There's some phenomenal kids, and they love what they're doing. So the video is about 5 minutes, and then once we're done, I'll just kind of ask everybody to step on up. I'll be here to answer any questions anybody has as well.
So Matt, before we begin with the video, let me just kind of give everyone on the board a little bit of background. To Matt's credit, he has really taken a leading role in terms of initiating a coding curriculum for our students in the technology specials classes at Erdenheim Elementary. And because of his wonderful efforts, as he mentioned, students from 2nd grade on up are doing some pretty amazing things, including beginning work on actually designing apps themselves. Our intention is to continue this work up through the middle school, to begin even earlier at Enfield. This is part of our STEM initiative that we are working on in the district. And as we've started to learn, this is really new for many of the districts across not only our county, but within the 4-county area. There are very few other schools which actually have a solid computer science, coding, or STEM program at these early levels. Most of them have programs in place and courses in place at the high school level, but very little at the beginning levels. So we are particularly proud that Matt, pretty much on his own initiative, developed a curriculum based on the free website from code.org, which I will say based on Matt's motivating speech to me after I observed these wonderful students, went on and learned how to code myself. So thank you, Matt, for teaching even an old dog can learn new tricks. But I guarantee each one of the children over here is way beyond whatever I can do. So I'm going to turn it back over to you so we can see the kids.
All right, thanks so much.
It's amazing. The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You know, you're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
It's amazing. I think it's the closest thing we have to a superpower.
Great corners are today's wrestlers. That's it.
Okay, thanks for sitting through that for the 5 minutes. I know at this point of the night it's a little bit hard to kind of stay with that. But I'd love to invite at first our board members to kind of come over. If you would each like to head over and take 2 or 3 people at one of the stations and just take a look, and parents as well, come over and see what the kids are coding. You'll see that our second graders are starting in a language that's mostly blocks. It's building the structure of code. It's not actually building, but it's based on the language of JavaScript. Our fourth graders, well, a couple of them are in typing JavaScript already, using the block code as well, but also one is teaching himself HTML on the side and designing a web page already. And then our 5th graders are over there in the advanced levels of the blocks. They are, some of them coding in JavaScript, some of them only coding in the blocks. So please take a look, and if anybody has any questions, feel free.
Thank you so much for the presentation. We really appreciate it. We learned a lot, and it's very exciting to see the wonderful things our students are doing in our schools. We have quite a few motions to get through this evening before we can move on to our public comment section. So we're going to get started on our motions for this evening's board meeting. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We had. Okay, so actually we have a few committee reports. We're just going to try to go through them very quickly so that we can move on with our board business. So first we are going to have, sorry, I'm just checking to make sure we have all of our board members here at the table. Okay, good. All right, we're all here. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Academic Affairs Committee report. Dr. Taratusky.
Okay, thank you. Academic Affairs Committee met on Tuesday, April 25th at 5:30 at the Administration Building. In addition to the committee, we had Dr. Rittenhouse, Ms. Walters, Mrs. Wolf, who's a middle school science teacher, and Mr. Fears, a middle school science teacher, in attendance. And the middle school, Dr. Atkinson actually led an update to our science curriculum. The science faculty has been looking at the K-12 science curriculum, and because of the need for some updating in those areas, the elementary school will be maintaining an inquiry-based science program and using some of the FOSS kits that they are still using. The middle school will continue with an investigation approach, and there's going to be some new short course text materials purchased by Pearson, and Mrs. Wolf and Mr. Fears talked about some reasons for using this new curriculum and how much it will offer to the science program at the middle school. And at the high school, we'll maintain the current course sequence of science there. A STEM update was also provided and by Dr. Atkinson, and there are some other STEM initiatives that are going to be happening within the district, especially at the middle school. And Dr. Atkinson is interested in forming a K-12 STEM and technology committee to review these areas for the district. We also talked a little bit about the high school schedule and just talking about some implications of changes, possible changes to a block schedule, and just looking at, in general, the schedule and the sequence of the classes that our students take there. So that's it. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have the Property Committee report, and this will be given by Walter Lapidus.
Thank you. How do I follow this? So we met on Cinco de Mayo, that was May 5th, at 8:15 in the morning. Most of the conversation centered around our projects at the high school and the K-2 elementary. So with respect to the high school renovation, we discussed Some of the quotes from DeHay Engineering. We're negotiating some better pricing on some of the work. We talked about site utility location, exterior site work design, and we were told that we're proceeding with auxiliary gym and interior renovations, working on the finishes, identifying alternative locations for athletic director's office and TV studio during construction. We also discussed the K-2 elementary. There's a need for a site traffic study, which is kind of to kick off the process of building new elementary school. We also talked about the sequence of the township review process and what that entails. I believe, do we know how the May 10th meeting came out? Was that favorable? Were we land development approval waiver? Oh, while Mr. King tries to remember, sorry for putting you on the spot, because I don't know the answer. I figured someone should.
I'm getting a signal from Mr. Thorne, everything went okay.
Yes, and Mr. Thorne also updated us on some of the summer maintenance projects which are factored into our long-term plan. And finally, this really had nothing to do with the property committee, but we did discuss the possibility of sending out information to the community to make them more aware of what's going on and the important things we're doing in the district. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Okay, the administrative report, Dr. Nancy Hacker. Okay, she's good. All right, now we're going to move on to new business. Number 1, personnel attachment. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment: administrative personnel, confidential personnel, certificated personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities, 2016-2017, extended school year program personnel, conference workshop attendance. Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Mr. King? Aye. Number 2, policy 246 revision. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the suggested revisions to Policy 246, Student Wellness, Attachment HH. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Second. Any questions or comments? No. Mr. King?
We're ready to move on to the next thing.
Mr. Ryan, Ms. Sarsfield, Dr. Teratuski, Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. I apologize this evening. We did have a long meeting. We do have to get through some board business before we can allow for public comment. So if you just hang in there a little bit, we're going to go through this as soon as we can.
Almost committed suicide. Like y'all doing
Excuse me, please, please. This is an important business meeting that we're having. Okay, number 3, middle school science program, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the adoption of the science program Interactive Science by Pearson for grades 6, 7, and 8 as recommended by the Academic Affairs Committee. Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Mr. King? Aye. Number 4, Scenario Learning LLC, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the contract with Scenario Learning LLC for Safe Schools and Exceptional Child Trainings effective May 15th, 2017 to provide online trainings to the district for education and compliance. Attachment II. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman,
Aye. Number 5, overnight field trips, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the Springfield Township High School football team to attend camp at Albright College in Reading, PA, July 20th through July 23rd, 2017. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Quick question. How is supervision handled for overnight trips with teams? Certified personnel, numbers of
Yes,
staff?
the coaches handle the supervision, and they have certified staff members who are there to handle that. I also just want to point out that the dates, there's a typo. It should be July 20th through July 23rd.
Did I
Oh,
read
it
the wrong
does?
thing?
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't have the revised agenda, sorry.
Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapis? Mr. Ray? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teratuski? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 6, extended school year agreement with Devereaux, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the agreement between Devereaux and Springfield Township School District for student 201705515-01 for the 2017 extended school year program. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapis? Mr. Ray? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teratuski? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 7, extended school year agreement with Camp Hill Special School, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the agreement between Camp Hill Special School and Springfield Township School District for student 201705515-02 for the 2017 extended school year program. Is there a motion? Okay, questions or comments? Okay, Mr. King.
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapis? Mr. Ray? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teratuski? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 8, part-time independent contractor, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the part-time independent contract with Sarah Walker, effective May 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018, to provide the school psychologist services to the school district on an as-needed basis. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapis? Mr. Ray? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teratuski? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 9, MCIU agreement for shared student services, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the 2017-2018 intergovernmental agreement for shared student special education and related services with the MCIU. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapis? Mr. Ray? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teratuski? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 10, 2017-2018 sports and student accident insurance, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the purchase of sports and student accident insurance from Axis Capital Insurance Company through American Management Advisors for the 2017-2018 school year at an annual cost of $6,670 for all sports coverage. Is there a motion? Is there a second? You get both. Good. Any questions or comments?
Is this insurance that students purchase, or this is our insurance for the students? Okay.
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapis? Mr. Ray? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teratuski? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 11, police coverage at high school graduation, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the agreement with Springfield Township Police Department to provide security during high school graduation ceremonies at a rate of $65 per hour per officer for a total amount of $390. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
This is, I'm sorry, we customarily do this, right? Pay for the police services for that? And do we do that for other, like, sports events and such? Sometimes, okay.
Mr. Chapman. Mr. Lapis. Mr. Ray. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Teratuski. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye.
Just to clarify, it says security, but some of it is also for traffic control, primarily.
Number 12, new K-2 traffic study agreement recommended motion. The Board of School Directors, at the recommendation of the Schrader Group Architecture LLC, approves the agreement with Traffic Planning and Design, Inc. to perform a traffic impact study and a highway occupancy permit design concerning the new K-2 Early Learning Center project in the amount of $15,500 plus expenses. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman. Mr. Lapis. Mr. Ray. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Teratuski. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Number 13, release of proposed 2017-2018 final budget. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the following. 1, the release to the public of the 2017-2018 proposed final budget on Form PDE 2028. Number 2, the advertisement of the district's intent to adopt the 2017-2018 final budget and the adoption of the homestead farmstead exclusion at the June 20th, 2017 meeting. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman. Mr. Lapis. Mr. Ray. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Teratuski. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Number 14, utility locating services, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors, at the recommendation of Dewey Engineers, Inc., approves the agreement with Underground Services, Inc., SoftDig, for underground utility location services at the high school and the new K-2 site in the amount of $23,100 plus expenses. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Mr. King?
Mr. Chapman. Mr. Lapis. Mr. Ray. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Teratuski. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Number 15, land development agreements, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the following agreements with Springfield Township regarding the high school stadium project, subject to final review by the district's solicitor and administration. 1, land development and financial security agreement, including all exhibits. 2, memorandum of land development and financial security agreement. 3, declaration of covenants, easements, and restrictions concerning stormwater facilities. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Second. Any questions or comments?
I do have a question. Is this approved by property committee? Is in favor of these agreements, or you're not? Are you aware? Were they run through property committee?
We discussed them briefly, that these were going to come about. These are standard contracts with the township that basically tell us how to manage the construction with groundwater, erosion, just about everything that we're going to do.
Are they relatively standard agreements, or?
They're relatively standard from the township. We are reviewing and making some tweaks. We're not doing everything that's included in their boilerplate, so we're making some changes.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Chapman. Mr. Lapis. Mr. Ray. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Teratuski. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. 16, annual appointment, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the annual appointment of Ms. Katie Braun as treasurer through June 30th, 2018. June 30th, 2018. Is there a motion? Second. Any questions or comments? Okay.
Mr. Chen. Mr. Lapidus. Mr. Ray. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Taratusky. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Number 17, annual appointments. Recommended motion, the Board of School Directors approves the annual appointments as follows. Designation of depositories for 2017-2018 school year, Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust, Pennsylvania School District Liquid Asset Fund, Wells Fargo, PNC Bank, TD Bank. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chen. Mr. Lapidus. Mr. Ray. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Taratusky. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Number 18, laptop lease agreement. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the 3-year lease with E+ Group, Inc. for 220 staff laptops and an annual amount of $76,693.15. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Is this replacing the laptops that staff have now? Okay. All right.
Correct.
Are we getting any credit or anything back from any materials that might be returned, or?
No, this is a lease. It's not a, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right. What are we doing with the laptops that teachers already have?
They have to return them back to Mr. Oliver. There's a whole process in place for the return, and then over the summer, they're issued the new ones.
Okay, all right, thanks.
I think we did switch over recently. Instead of buying them, we switched over to this lease. Okay.
Mr. Chen. Mr. Lapidus. Mr. Ray. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Taratusky. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Number 19, lit fiber license and internet access license. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the master lease, lit fiber and internet agreements, license numbers 2017-01, 2017-02, 2017-03 with Sunesis Enterprise LLC, thank you, in the amount of $2,600 per month for a 36-month term, including an initial non-recurring charge of $25,000. Comments are contingent on E-rate associated funding. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Okay. Any questions or comments? Mr. King.
Mr. Chen. Mr. Lapidus. Mr. Ray. Ms. Sarsfield. Dr. Taratusky. Ms. Lipinski.
Aye. Okay, now we will be moving on to public comments on non-agenda items. I think we had a few people sign up. And I think some of you folks may have joined us a little later after the start of the meeting, so if you're not on this list, we'll get to you after we go through this. We have a Laura Pritchard who signed up. Yeah, you can come on up. And I believe that microphone is on. And if you would just tell us your name and address for the record.
Laura Pritchard. I live on the corner of Carlisle and Patton Road, 8909 Carlisle. I've never done this.
Well, welcome to board meeting. You picked a good one, so I really apologize for the delay, and thanks for hanging in there. So
thank you. I'm here because I'm concerned about the proposed new school on the grounds of what is now the Antonelli Institute and open space. I live right across the street from the proposed site, and I'll admit it has sentimental value for me. I've played softball with my children in that park, walked my dog, met my neighbors, laid in the grass watching meteor showers. I'll admit that I have a sentimental reason for not wanting such an important focal point for the community to disappear. The loss of open space is a major concern. However, I also have practical concerns. As someone who often already has to wait many minutes to turn onto Paper Mill Road in either direction, I'm worried about the dramatic increase in traffic that would come with this school. Furthermore, like Commissioner Peter Wilson and my neighbors who raised concerns during the last planning meeting, I'm worried about the impact of parking, the safety of children walking to the school, and negative impact on property values. I and many of my neighbors would appreciate our concerns being taken seriously. You can do that by slowing down, being clear about your process, clearly and in a timely fashion notifying neighbors, and giving compelling justifications for how you have come to this decision. For example, how did you reach a projection for the number of students, and why are you confident of that projection? I understand that the projected numbers were off for the rebuilt Erdenheim School. Also, why couldn't the Enfield site be used? Additional floors could be built rather than the sprawling building being proposed. In short, I'm worried that the whole project seems not to have been well thought out, and there seems to have been relatively little input from the public. Was there any kind of lay committee or focus group organized to participate in the initial discussions of this project, and can there be one now?
That was a lot of questions, so I'll see if I can start with a couple of the ones that stick out in my mind, and you can help me if I don't hit all of them. First of all, to answer your question, there was a significant amount of time and effort dedicated to studying the feasibility of building a new school and where that school would be located, and we really did only have two options available to us, one of which was the Antonelli site and the other was Enfield, which this board and a group in particular on a subcommittee considered very seriously. And what we learned through investigation through our feasibility study, which we actually was led by a group of architects who helped us with our cafeteria addition at Erdenheim, was that in order to invest money in Enfield because of its current age, it currently is over 60 years old, that the amount that would have been required to invest in that school would have almost been the exact same amount that it's costing to build a brand new elementary school that has one additional grade. The other aspect that the board seriously considered, we actually commissioned a demographic study from the Montgomery County Planning Commission several years ago, where we actually looked at our increasing enrollments in all of our schools, and what we found is that over the last decade, there has been a 30% increase in the number of children who have filtered through our elementary schools. We have projections that go up well past 2020. What we have found is that every year since we commissioned that study, which was about 4.5 years ago, the numbers have been borne out. We continue to increase in enrollments. 5 years ago, the Enfield population was somewhere around 330 students. Currently, we have approximately 420 students. So it's increased by almost 100 students, and we have run out of capacity. We also have disability and access issues within the building that would need to be corrected. And finally, another area about Enfield that made us seriously consider moving the school to the current Antonelli site is the fact that our buses currently line up on Paper Mill Road, which is a traffic hazard for the traffic coming in both directions. And on rainy days, with the number of parents we now have driving their children, there's a serious backup in the neighborhoods, including on Church Lane, which the police actually have responded to. So the police have indicated a very strong concern with that location as well, not to mention the 5 Points intersection, which parents have been complaining about because of safety issues for years. So for those and many other reasons, the Antonelli site really became an obvious site for us, including the fact that it used to be an elementary school, which many of our own staff members and community members did attend. So the fact that it once was an elementary school that had children coming in and out of that site also lent itself to consideration. You also asked, I believe, if I remember correctly, about whether we had any core group of individuals. We've actually had a very large group of 50 individuals who've been intimately involved, including board members and members of the community, who have actually helped to plan what the building would look like, the orientation of the building on the site. And one of the major things that they began to consider when we first started having meetings, which have been explained at public meetings that we've held, is trying to maintain the integrity and the natural look of the landscaping on that site.
It's not. The plan is totally, every bit of open space is gone.
Well,
and also, I would like to know how these public meetings, because every single neighbor that I have talked to had not heard of it. I got a notice of this in the mail literally that day.
we have advertised the public meetings not only on our website, but also through the enterprise, which goes to all of the homes in the community. And I believe Mr. Lapidus mentioned that one of the things that we are now looking into is a way to communicate by developing a listserv of residents who would like to get more information as we move forward in the project. Our technology director is working with us on developing a way that people can sign up for that so we can e-blast notice of any additional meetings that we are planning on having.
Well, and this committee there were neighbors that were looking at the
Neighbors,
site? Actual
teachers,
people that live in that
administrators,
neighborhood?
community residents, yes. In fact, they actually, many of the neighbors themselves participated in the presentations that we did. We have community residents who are architects and engineers who are part of that committee as well.
I just find that really hard to believe. It just seems like it just sprang out of nowhere. And I think the size and the way that it's configured it's just astounding to me that
I'd be very happy if you would like to come in to meet and talk to you and show you the plans, and if you have additional questions. Yeah, I mean, if you'd like personally to come in, I'd be happy to show you.
What I want to know is if there, right now, can there be a group of neighbors that can be involved in this?
Well, absolutely. We certainly would be more willing to have individuals come as we continue to make progress in terms of the planning for the site.
And this is a done deal?
I think we can characterize it as that at this point.
There's been no traffic studies?
Well, we actually approved a board.
I understand, I heard
Yes.
that, but I just.
That's part of our process, is we must have through the township a traffic study that is approved, and so that was, as you heard, the board motion for this evening to commission the traffic study.
And what about open space policy in the township?
Anything that we are required to adhere to, whether it's open space, stormwater management, as you heard, that was one of the agreements, we are obligated to adhere to in terms of the planning for the site. So we are.
There is no more open space then there? It's all parking lots?
No, actually, if you look at the plans for the site, you'll see that this integrity of the hills are maintained as well. The softball field that is currently there will also be maintained. The only additional parking lot is the bus loop that we have planned, but the current parking lot that is there is essentially the same parking lot we're going to be used for staff and parent parking as well.
It doesn't look like that on the plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
So again, we'll try to get the listserv up and make sure that we get that information out, because we have had several public meetings, and obviously we're not doing the best job that we can getting the word out. So I think we're going to definitely take another look at that. Okay.
I also wanted to mention, I believe, Ken, do you recall what the date is of the next upcoming meeting, the township, the planning? Craig, do you recall the next date of that meeting? The township meeting? Yeah. I believe there's another planning commission meeting, and our intent is to go to that meeting to also answer any questions at that time.
Will they have the plans at that meeting? Do they have them up and put them up on an easel or anything?
I don't know how they handle that, but we can certainly bring our own.
Yeah, I think we should bring what we can. Thank you. Okay, next on my list is Celia Doherty.
Hi, Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Hi.
My name is Cecilia Doherty. I live at 910 Bent Lane. A number of my neighbors have been meeting with Peter Wilson around our concerns with the intersection of Fraser Road and Paper Mill Road. It's just very dangerous. It's very hard to get out there, and with the changes with the township buildings being redone, we wanted to try and use this time to do what we can to make that more safe. In the process, I found out that there's a proposal to change the entrance to the highway to the high school. Okay, well, I'm concerned that is whether that's necessary. I'm concerned with the expenditure, but I'm also concerned that it's going to make our traffic issue worse because then it will be high school, Hawthorne, Fraser. And I also kind of, again, wish that we could be informed of any major changes like this. What I would like to ask is that any traffic study be conducted for the length of Paper Mill Road from Church Road to Stenton, especially with the addition of the township buildings reopening, with attention to that, and attention to the new school building. Because Paper Mill Road, part of our issue with Fraser is there's not that many ways out of our neighborhood. And so we could go over to Hawes, we could go down to another, but they're all going to just lead back into, cause another problem. So anyway, with the new school, with the township building reopened, and if that change is going to happen, I really think that there needs to be a full traffic study of that length of Paper Mill Road.
Couple things, and thank you for coming. I don't know exactly when they conduct the traffic study what it entails and how far down Paper Mill it goes. We certainly have heard that concern about Fraser Road and pulling out onto Paper Mill before. We actually did send out an individual mailing to all of the residents of Fraser Road and had a meeting specifically for those neighbors, and we had about 35 people
I live one
attend.
house off of Paper, and I did not get a notification.
So that explains why you didn't get the notice. But we did hear that concern from many of those residents who talked about the turn onto onto Paper Mill. We had the same concerns about the coming in and out of our high school entrance as the result of the traffic coming from 309, which prompted the idea, and again, this came about as the result of a feasibility study conducted by architects and engineers, to move the driveway down closer to the stadium. We have found it to be very, very dangerous. A number of the residents and parents and students have complained for many, many years about the entrance being located. That's what prompted really investigation into that matter. But we certainly understand that by moving it down, it does get closer to Fraser Road. So to the extent that we can put our opinions in when the traffic study is developed and highlight the fact that this is a concern for the residents, we will certainly be happy to do that.
Yeah, my understanding is that there are other options, and what we're finding is perhaps a good option for Hawthorne and Fraser and Cheltenham, and perhaps the high school would be smart traffic lights. So I just think I would like you to really consider, before you make such a major expensive change, all the options to make it safer. Yes, that seems like an incredibly unsafe situation, but we're looking into many different options, and I hope that the school district is doing the same.
Thank you.
Can I add something first? I do want to say that one part of the plan is that we are going to extend the traffic flow around the building. So there's no longer just an entrance and an exit right onto Paper Mill. You'll be able to flow all the way around the building onto Springfield Way and down to Hawes Lane as well.
You can already do that.
No, you can't. You can just go down Springfield Way. You can't actually get around the high school. So we have a lot of issues with cars coming in, going out, and buses at the same time, where We should be able to do a little more when we change the traffic pattern to be able to flow the traffic around and utilize Springfield Way and Hawes Lane a lot more than we're able to do now.
Yeah, it seems like there'd be a simpler solution than totally redoing, and cheaper.
Did you want to?
To explain exactly that, but the reason you can get out onto Hawes, but what happens is, because my daughter goes to high school and the other one to middle school, I never go to the high schools because the buses drop off. So they essentially block off that way, which forces all of the traffic to come back out onto Paper Mill. So exactly what Ms. Lipinski said, the reconfiguration will ease that.
You can't just widen it?
No, there really is no. Driveway around. Yeah. So maybe not your desired solution, but it's certainly, it was something that we gave a lot of thought to when we were talking about the redesign of the high school and the parking and all of the traffic flow.
Well, I hope that we can get a comprehensive traffic study of the entire Paper Mill Road. Thank you.
There's no one else signed up, but I know that we have some other members of the public here. So if whoever would like to come up and sit down to address us this evening, you're welcome to come up to the microphone. And for the record, if you could just tell us your names and your address.
Sure. My name is Anthony Hines, and this is my wife, Tanisha Hines. We live at 915 East Southampton Avenue, Glenside, PA, 19038.
Thank you, and thank you for your patience this evening.
Okay. We have a statement here to describe the type of horror that our son, Nasir White, he was a member here at the high school. He is no longer attending here due to the events that took place. I'm going to read it, and then my wife and I are both going to read it. So I'll just start. It's hard to imagine that just over 2 weeks ago, our son, Nasir White, was saying he was looking forward to entering 10th grade and playing football again with the Springfield Township High School. He spoke of graduating from Springfield and being accepted into a Division I college with aspirations of becoming a pilot and going to the NFL. Hearing such aspirations filled our hearts with joy because we always taught him that hard work and a good attitude would get you far in life. With the news that my wife and I received on April 28th about the turmoil and anguish our son had been experiencing at the hands of his fellow students, these events has darkened those dreams entirely for him. As parents, you strive to instill in your children the right type of morals, values, and integrity that will make them productive members in society. Teaching them that forgiveness, kindness, and most of all love will be the foundation to which they are able to build and sustain lifelong relationships with people of all walks of life. Teaching them that it's vital to treat everyone with decency and respect, even if they may not particularly like you and you not like them in turn. It pains my wife and I to have come to the realization that our son unfortunately didn't receive the same treatment that we raised him to demonstrate to people. Our son Nasir White has been treated with reprehensible treatment to the point that planning to take his own life was his only escape from his attackers. The thought of living a day, a minute, or even a second without him in our lives will be the cruelest punishment any parent will have to endure.
Our son has endured racism, harassment, and even physical abuse at the hands of his attackers. He has been called horrible names, being physically hit by other students, had profanity spoken to him on a daily basis, in person and both electronic text messages, has been forced to stand on the school bus while in motion because his attackers refused to allow him a seat. And he even has had students compare the color of his skin to the color of human feces while laughing hysterically at him as he sat there crying, wishing it would be over. If we were asked to describe in a few words the emotions which we are feeling right now, we would, without any hesitation and with certainty, say anger, brokenness, and frustration. We feel anger towards his attackers for saying and doing such inhumane things to our son. But more importantly, we feel anger towards the school district for allowing this to happen after being made aware of these things that were occurring. We feel brokenness because of the amount of hurt and damage which these situations has caused our son. We feel frustrated by the school's unwillingness to accept accountability, as well as their lack of response and attentiveness to bullying and racial bullying issues mentioned. We have on numerous documented occasions made the school district aware of the harassment, bullying, and racial slurs that our son has been subject to. Prior to his heartbreaking plan of ending his life after school on April 28th, the school district was told on 4/17/17, 4/25/17, and 4/28/17 about the attackers who were terrorizing our son. With such vital knowledge of what was occurring, one would think a swift and firm resolution would be imminent. But what we received was anything close to that. No disciplinary action was taken. No statements were taken from neither my husband and I, who provided school officials of the names of his attackers. And to our dismay, the attackers were allowed to attend school and continue to bully our son like nothing ever happened. I can only imagine what our son must have been thinking as he saw his attackers every day after telling school officials about what was taking place. When you
were being attacked and the people you run to who are supposed to help you, and in this case the school district, ignore your cries for help, it forces you to make two decisions: continue to endure and take the abuse hoping that things will get better, or to do something about it. Our son was pushed mentally and emotionally to the point that he felt like death was his way of doing something about it. We are just thanking God that he gave our son another chance. My hope is that the school district takes responsibility and doesn't give his attackers another chance to terrorize not only our son, but anyone else's child as well. I'm sorry. Thank you for listening.
And I must add that the terrorism heightened after my son reported to multiple school officials about the drug issues that were happening at the school, how senior students were coercing the freshmen, in which they have coerced my son, which prompted our son to report this to the school administrators. And after that, and after there was the unannounced drug raid that happened here at the high school, the terrorism became significant. It was already pretty bad. We did make mention, as we stated in our statement, to various individuals at the school. And at this time, we're pleading and begging because our son was hospitalized, and no child should ever have to go through this.
I want to thank you very much for coming to speak with us this evening. What you're saying is truly disturbing, and I would like to speak on behalf of the whole board here that, we know how hard and how terrible this is for you and for your son and for the things that you're all going through. I know in my heart that the wellness and safety of our students is really one of the most important things that we care about here in Springfield, and to hear about these things that are happening is really, truly heartbreaking. So I know it's taken you a lot of courage to come here tonight, and I thank you for coming to share your story. I'm actually going to turn the mic over to Dr. Hacker to she can address some of the things that maybe you were speaking to us about.
And I just want to repeat what Mrs. Lipinski said, and thank you for coming. We very much appreciate it. Obviously, we don't like to discuss confidential matters involving students, but we certainly recognize where you're coming from and many of the things that you've made the board and administrators aware of. I do want to assure you we are actively investigating all of the allegations that have been brought to our attention. I know that the Springfield Township Police Department has also communicated with us And Mrs. Hines, as I expressed to you in an email, that sometimes, unfortunately, even though you're very frustrated and want immediate responses, as you certainly deserve in a situation like this, the investigations do take time, and the more accusations and allegations there are, that means the more students are involved, and we want to assure you that in order to conduct a thorough investigation, to identify the attackers or perpetrators, we need to make sure that we reach out and see who all of them are. That means we have to investigate by speaking with students, witnesses who may have been present when these things occurred, bus driver, as you're well aware, coaches due to his involvement in athletics, teachers who are involved in this year's classes. So it's a very extensive list of people, and we want to make sure that we speak with all of them. I do know that the administration has spent hours looking into many of the things that have been brought to their attention. There is some new information that I heard that you presented this evening that I was not aware of. I think that's more information, again, that we need to know so that we have as many details as possible so that we can continue with the investigation. And I know our intent is certainly to sit down with you after we've looked at all of that information and share with you exactly what we found and the steps that we've taken in order to try to correct the things that have taken place. I will tell you that some conversations have already occurred with parents of some of the kids who have taunted your son, and I'm happy to say that they are as horrified as the board members and myself are at hearing some of the things that you've brought to our attention. Unfortunately, the problems that we are facing in terms of the ignorance and the lack of respect and the lack of tolerance for people who are different than they are is so comprehensive and so difficult for all of us to deal with. It remains a continuing battle and challenge for us. But we are committed to that, and we maintain a very, very strict policy here that regardless of what goes on outside of school, in this environment, on school property, we will not tolerate those acts of discrimination, harassment, or bullying. I think many of you may have read today there was a horrific incident that took place on the campus of American University. Colleges are experiencing the same levels of lack of tolerance and lack of understanding. We all need to work together to do a better job. We're trying to educate our staff to identify these instances and to be proactive as well. We need a lot more work in this area, but that's our pledge. And I promise you that we are going to continue our investigation. We're going to give you the feedback that you deserve, and we're going to work to help you to heal your son.
Please. Because I just want to say that this can be anybody's kid. And you guys don't know what we've been going through every day. He does not deserve this. He does not. And I'm so sorry. But he's a good kid. Like, he's a good, he does not deserve this. So please, from a mother to a mother, please. Parents to parents. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, both of you.
Yes, thank you very much for coming.
Good evening. Eddie Graham, 2004 Quill Lane, Orland, Pennsylvania, 19075. I just wanted to as you all know, I'm a commissioner here in Springfield Township, and I just wanted to make a statement for the record if the board would allow me. I had a long statement, but I'm going to just hit on the key points that I had outlined in my statement because of the lateness of the hour. Imagine just dropping your child off at their school's front door or at the bus stop. Your only thoughts at that time would possibly be that your child did his homework correctly, or that he does well on the test that you and he or she went over the following evening, or that you made sure that a piece of fruit was in his lunch. Not once do you imagine that your child I'm sorry, this kind of upsets me. Not once did you imagine that your child is going through the daily bane of torture by his or her peers with racial slurs, demanding text, and terroristic threats, to the point that your child doesn't even believe that his own existence is relevant or important anymore. And then that your child is being subjected to the slave-like abuse because he or she chose to do the right thing. And finally, to pour more salt into the wounds of your injustice, that your child is being labeled as a malefactor in this entire nightmare. Our school board president states on the board's webpage that her mission is to ensure, and I quote, educational excellence and equity for all students in our schools. This will in turn support our community and lays the necessary foundation for a successful future for our children and for the future of our country, end quote. So in looking into the ideals as stated by our school board president, this family and the African American community here in Springfield are looking to see if the same paradigm is truly supported for all of its students. And just to let you know that we are being supported by a lot of the prominent religious and elected community officials here in Springfield Township. We have Dr. Craig Brown from the local NAACP chapter. We have Dr. James Elton here. We have Mr. and Mrs. James Brown. Mr. Brown is the boss list of the local Omega Psi Phi chapter here in Springfield. We have Deacon and Deacon Steve DeShields, who was committee person, Deacon Randy Barnes and Mrs. DeShields, who are also from Triumph Baptist Church here in Springfield. And I know I thought that I was a little bit more composed, and I'm going through this, but this situation has me very upset. The Hines family is going through a test of faith in their home and in the Springfield Township Community District because of hate and racist bullying. Racist bullying is any incident where you or someone else has been targeted because they have been seen as being different. And please note, anyone can be a victim of hate because of prejudice against their age, disability, gender identity, race, religious belief, or sexual orientation. A parent's best strategy for countering bullying is to reach out to as many people as necessary to make sure that the bullying comes to an end. This is the reasoning why we are addressing the school board, and will continue to contact other school personnel according to a chain of command to make sure that our voices, and more importantly, our child's voice, is heard when we are asking for the community to help and embrace us. We intend on securing the names of all students involved in this terroristic and racist behavior and giving them to the chief of police. Though an incident report has already been filed with the Springfield Police Department, we plan on monitoring these investigations, and with the help of our elected officials and our respective religious leaders within our community and from our various churches, to make sure that the school administration, our police department, does all of its due diligence within the law to prosecute these bigoted students. That will start us on the path to healing. And next, we will have to address the anxiety that this family has to deal with and in placing their son back into the educational process. However, let me be clear that if this board, the Springfield High School school administration, or our police department refuses or waters down this matters to address this bullying, we intend to seek outside legal remedies, up to and including filing a complaint within the U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights and with the Educational Law Center. Federal civil rights laws requires any programs or activities that receives funds from the Department of Education to provide an environment free of discrimination. And it is my understanding that this township benefits from those fundings. You may say that these are extreme and harsh reactive measures to an obviously emotional incident, but I believe that the life, mental health, and productive future of this young black man and his families calls for a line to be drawn in the sand. And if this board cares for, and as I quote, to ensure educational excellence and equity for all students in our school, the Hines family, the African American community, and all of Springfield are looking for you, our neighbors, to embrace us as such. Thank you for your time, and my apologies again for my emotional outbreak, but this really hits close to home. Thank you.
Do we have any other members of the public that would like to come up and speak with us this evening?
Gosh, I don't know how long it was when my son was in 7th grade. He was bullied really badly. It wasn't racism, he's white, but he was bullied really badly. And to the point where he made a statement after someone was said they would kill him. He said someone had been threatening him, backing him into corners. This went on for a long, long time. People knew about it. He made a comment, "I'm going to kill you," because he was backed into the corner in a stairwell. He was arrested for making a terroristic threat, $7,000 worth of legal fees. This was 10 years ago, maybe. Since then, someone shot themselves outside the library where my son was underneath a desk. After that, they supposedly were implementing the very bullying policy that I suggested when my son was in 7th grade and was not taken seriously. So I totally understand to some degree what it's like, because I did talk to his teacher. They didn't talk to me, and you know what? The kid who bullied him for years graduated. And at graduation parties, I heard about all the other people he had been bullying. This has got to stop. There needs to be a safe way for people to report bullying. A safe, anonymous way that they can report bullying, and it must be taken seriously. If I could take back the harm that was done to I don't even know how much harm was done to my son. But this was a long time ago, and there have been who knows how many other times. And honestly, I have to say this. When I discussed it with the then head superintendent, the school district protected itself. That was the way it was dealt with. They protected themselves. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. If you could just say your name for the record.
My name is Robin Henson. I am the grandparent of Nasir White. I beg you, from one parent to another, that this bullying please stop. It has caused so much tragedy in our family, so much turmoil in our family. It's not fair. I thought as educators that we have a legal right to protect all of our children. We all are mandated reporters, so when this is reported, it must be dealt with. It must be dealt with. I would not be able to forgive anyone had something happened to my grandson. He's screaming out for help. He has a right, like anybody else, to a fair and safe education, like anybody else. And that's what we're asking, that he has a fair and safe education. My daughter is a nurse. My daughter worked very hard to achieve her accomplishments. He has a right to achieve his accomplishments. And I'm screaming out for help. Please help us. Please deal with this. Because if you guys know what's going on, it should be dealt with. And again, think about it if that was your child and someone was bullying your child. That's horrible. All lives matter. Everyone has a right to a fair and safe education. Please address this.
Thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Aronson. I do not have a child in the school district, but Tanisha Hines is a coworker and one of my best friends. And I was in communication with her the day that her son notified everybody that he was intending to kill himself. And I want you to know, as she's one of my best friends, I want you to understand that I have personal knowledge of the day-to-day struggles that they have had since he's been released from the hospital. She cannot leave her son alone for 1 minute because he's still voicing threats to kill himself. There have been nights where she's had to sleep in the living room on the floor next to him because she's scared he's going to kill himself while she's sleeping. Okay? No mother, I'm a mother, but no mother should ever have to fear closing their eyes because they're scared that their child is going to kill themselves while they're sleeping. It is the duty of teachers and educators and this school board to protect all children. And if these were adults in a workplace, the perpetrators would be in jail. But because these are children, people have a tendency to sweep it under the rug and say that these are children. They are old enough to know right from wrong, and they must be held accountable, and it is your responsibility to protect everybody. These children that are doing these horrible things, yes, they have to be educated, but they need to be removed from this environment and put in a place where they cannot cause physical harm to anyone. When I was in high school, I might be white, but I'm Jewish, and I lived in the South, and I had a classmate whose parents were in the Klan who used to come up to me every day and say, "We know the Klan knows where you live, we're gonna blow you up." He tried to throw me downstairs, he tried to throw me over third-floor balconies. I've had my life threatened in high school, and the administrators didn't do anything about it until we threatened suit. No student should fear for their lives because they want an education. Not in this day and age, never. This is not right. Thank you.
If anyone else would like to speak, we're here to listen.
My name is Randy Barnes. I live on Falcon Drive in Glenside, which is part of Springfield Township. And I guess I'm coming to you now as a taxpayer, but I'm also coming to you as a human being, but I'm also coming to you because I sit on 3 different boards of different nonprofits. So I know what it is to be in charge of making policies and ensuring that everything goes across the board so that everybody is treated equally and fairly. So the reason I'm here tonight is not because I'm an African American, it's because I'm part of the Springfield Township community, and I hold you guys accountable because you are my elected school board members. Now, my son graduated from this school years ago, but I'm here because as a resident of Springfield Township, a township that I'm proud to live in, I have expectations of the school board, and I expect that every single child, regardless of race, creed, color, or ethnicity, that you guys will treat them fairly and you will act expediently to address this issue, because one of the things that bothers me is that some of the parties are seniors, and in less than a month, they'll be gone. So they get to go to the prom, class trip, graduation. Well, that doesn't seem fair to me. So all I'm saying is, as a taxpayer, as a citizen, as a human being, I'm asking you to treat everybody fairly so that when I look in your face again, I can say that my school board did what was right for all the citizens of Springfield Township. Thank you.
anyone else like to speak this evening? Well, again, on behalf of the board, I would like you all to know how deeply this affects us all and that we are on your side and we are going to make sure that we can do all of we can to look into and resolve the situation as best we can. Again, thank you all for coming this evening and speaking with us and for staying through our long board meeting that we had. We do appreciate hearing from you. And I'm sure that the administration will keep the board in the loop as to how the investigation is progressing and how things are moving forward with this case. Again, thank you and take care. I have a couple. Okay, I just have a few future meeting dates to announce. The interim board meeting will be on Tuesday, June 6, 2017 at 7 p.m. in the Freeze Memorial Lobby. The school board meeting will be held Tuesday, June 20th, 2017 at 7 p.m. in the Freeze Memorial Lobby. The Finance Committee will be meeting on Monday, June 5th, 2017, 5:15 p.m. in the Administration Building. And unless anyone has anything else, that is all for the evening. Motion to adjourn.